On the second anniversary of the Galwan Valley clash, I write about a different military mission. That's the Black Top Hill mission. It's the mission about which we have heard little, and we only know about the mission from the sources that have spoken to the media. I add a few more details to the story. On the late night of 31st August 2020, the Special Frontier Forces, which is a special operations unit of India, carried out an operation on the Black Top Hill. It's a feature on the southern bank of Penang So Lake. This feature had Chinese forces deployed in the area, and the Tibetans, who are part of the SFF, were there to tackle the Chinese forces. And we have learned that the Chinese were not prepared to tackle the Tibetans who came to attack them on that night. And this is a story which we are continuing to learn more as months pass. The Black Top Hill mission reveals the story of Tibet, something we often forget when we talk about India-China conflict. It's an important story, especially about the Tibetans who are part of SFF, and these Tibetan soldiers fought against the Chinese on that night. And through the process of, revelations that we've learned so far, we know that the Chinese were not prepared to tackle the Tibetans, and now the Chinese forces are looking to recruit Tibetans on their side to train them to fight the Tibetans from the Indian side. And this is something the PLA is carrying out as a recruitment drive, and we have learned from the sources that there is a mandatory recruitment drive going on in Chumbi Valley right now, and that started sometime in August 2021. So the PLA was not prepared to tackle a kind of force which they did not see coming their way, and they want to ensure that next time there is some sort of hot conflict between India and China, they are prepared for the context. The PLA is recruiting Tibetans for a militia force called Mimang Cheton. We know that the militia forces of Tibetans have been around for some time within the PLA, but now they are ramping up the recruitment drive to get more Tibetans to join the army. And this is part of a push where they need locals to help the officers who may not be prepared for the terrain that they are fighting in, especially the context of Tibet. The high terrain makes it difficult for officers on the mainland to remain in the area for a long haul. And that's the problem that the PLA is facing at the moment. And they are trying to address the problem by hiring more Tibetans, though there exists a level of mistrust between the Tibetans and the PLA officers. And that's something we have also learned, that the PLA is trying to incorporate certain religious activities by taking the new recruits to the local monks and having them divinated by the monks, and so that they feel comfortable to be part of a force which does not exactly respect religion, and in this case the Tibetan Buddhism. So therefore the PLA has to adopt new strategy to ensure that Tibetans are happy being part of the PLA. And therefore this is the story that's unfolding right now in terms of what's happening at the border.